I now call the ordinance committee meeting, the committee meeting to order March 3rd, 2026, 5:20 p.m. This is a committee meeting for the Finance Committee, which is chaired by Councilman Francis Plaisance. Councilman Plaisance, you can have the gavel.
Thank you. The Finance Committee meeting is now in session. And that's Steve to give us a report.
Good evening, Council. We're going over the annual, just a real quick annual analysis of the city's operations for the year December 2025. Look at the revenues for the city. Sales tax revenues for the year came in at $6.28 million. That's an increase of $160,000.
Council, you can look at the monitor if you'd like.
In
On the monitor for y'all.
2024. That's about a 2.5% increase sales tax revenues from 2024 into 2025. And it was actually the budget you're looking at is the amended budget that was just adopted last few months back in December. So the key is the change from one year to the next in the actual. So we see a $160,000 increase sales tax revenue. And look at your water, sewer, and electric revenues for the most part, they're all pretty much flat for the year over year. 2.1 million for water revenue, just over 2 million of sewer revenues, and the electric sales revenue was 3.8 million.
Which is a decline from the previous year.
A slight decline. Well, in the electric department, we went from down $5,000 actually, just one year to the next. We had increased the budget, hoping to see an increase, and so it was below budget by about 78,000. But the year over year decrease was less than just at 0.2%.
It's not increasing, which is important to note.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And you can see your kilowatt hours are about the same, pretty much flat as well. As we're looking to the payroll, the next graph, this is payroll for the general fund. That's all the city, mayor, council, the streets, police department, fire, safety, streets, parks. Total payroll for 2025 is $5.2 million. Compared to $5 million the year before, that's a $200,000 increase. So that's in 5%. The budget for the year was right at $5.2 million, so within 1/10 of 1% at year-end budget. So the key is it was a $200,000 increase from prior year, but the police department was not fully staffed in 2024. This year it was, so we see that increase in theirs. In the utility fund, the salaries were $1.9 million in 2025 compared to $1.8 million. That's a $100,000 increase, just about 5%, and pretty much in line with budget, within the 5% of the budget. And the total payroll for the city, when you combine all payroll, it was just over $7.1 million compared to $6.8 million. That's a $300,000 increase. Again, less than 5% overall, and within budget by 1%.
And in 2025, we ran one extra payroll for municipal employees, which include utility department and general government, not police and fire, because of holidays. So we had actually showed 27 payrolls for 2025, where we normally only show 26. So that's why some of them are over. Okay.
Then we look at just the expenditures for the government, general government. Expenditures were $2.6 million compared to $2.5 in 2024, so about a $100,000 increase. The police department was up $400,000 or 10%. And then in 24, they did not have a full staff in place. In 25, pretty much did for the year. Fire department was up $40,000 from $4.14 million to $4.18 million. And the street department saw an increase of $45,000. In the budget, the actual cost at $1.3 million compared to $1.285. So everything's pretty much in line. And in Parks and Recreation, we saw a decrease in expenditures in the last fiscal year of $80,000, down from $496,000. Overall, the city's expenditures were up about $500,000, $500,000, which is less than 5% for the year.
And in 2024 and 2025, we're doing a lot of ADA work at the parks and and so that's why we saw that increase in what we normally spend in Parks and Recreation.
And for the utility fund, the expenditures came in at $5.2 million compared to $5.17 billion, so a $65,000 increase, pretty much in line the budget, which is set at $5 million. So everything's within the 5%, of expenditures as well. So again, with the costs going up constantly, but the city's able to maintain the operation and keep it in line with the sales tax increase, thankfully was there, while our utility revenues were flat for the year. Slightly down, actually. So that's what I have. This is the, for the 12-month period, the annual audit is being conducted and for submission to the legislative auditors in compliance with the state law, and that'll be to you by usually by May, that's completed. All right.
Steve, do we have a reserve?
Do you have reserve fund? You have cash in reserve funds. Yes, the city has maintained some reserves.
Actually, we have rebuilt our reserves back to where they were prior to me becoming mayor. We had a pretty healthy reserve and depleted some due to storms and otherwise. I think when I was still in council, we had gone from about a $2 million reserve down to, I want to say at one point it was less than $1 million that we had, and we built them back up to about 1.5.
Yes, and you have to go back prior to COVID years because COVID, in 2021, 22, the federal government was handing out a lot of money to be used, so that kind of skewed some of the reserve balances, but you really don't want to go back to 2019 and before to where you are today compared to that.
So we're back up to 1.5 there?
In the reserves, yes.
Yeah, because you remember, in fact, you gave the statement to the paper there, the year was down to 666, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's good. We're back up, because boy, I tell you, something can happen real quick.
Yep, and we've done a lot of work in the last 3 years before you got back on council, so that we did a lot about putting money into reserves and trying to replenish that. Thank you to the council for supporting that effort.
And Steve, you feel optimistic about sales tax? You do see sales tax trending in a positive direction?
It's maintaining, and it seems to be surprisingly steady, yes. The economy's been strong. As long as our utilities stay in place, the cost of the utilities to the city has increased somewhat. And as they absorb, as you can see from the revenues being flat, you're not increasing your revenue from that source. It's just maintaining in the current environment. With the current environment, oil prices have increased in the last 2 weeks, and that's going to have an effect on your buying the utilities. It just trickles down.
And Steve, would it be logical with inflationary effects that the increased prices, our sales taxes, should be moving
That should follow
upward?
Yes.
As will the cost of projects.
Yes.
So we should be all right as long as we don't have any sudden disaster.
Right.
Spend money on it.
Right. And the other is
Let's
that
write
you
that
have a pocket for the outflow for the government reimburse, your insurance reimburses. You've always had a healthy reserve for that.
Right. Well, thank you. Any other
Thank you,
comments?
Steve.
No other comments?